I'll get you one.
What's going on, brother? I'll try to do my best in like calling out the right names.
Well, the right name helps, but also who's first to say it, and then might have to repeat it. And then second, and then repeat it again.
So this is, if you notice, like,
Is that window open? Turn two here, turn two. Turn two, commensurate work.
What's that?
Turn two, commensurate work. Commensurate work. Are you not in the Navy? I know you're not in the Navy, I know.
I don't
Don't
think
think
so.
PIW, I figured you'd know.
We only build with them. We don't know how to build. Are you actually operator?
Who wants to start?
You have to explain to me the order.
I will.
All right. You ready to start? I guess I could take this off. I don't think I'm within 6 feet of anybody, so. All right, Mr. Sherburne, do you mind opening up in a word of prayer? No, Mr. Sherburne. I mean,
Lord, again, we thank you for the opportunity to be here. We thank you for gathering together, not your Christmas story, but for your here tonight, we honor and glorify you. We look forward to this coming year and serving you. Thank you in Jesus' name.
amen. All right, I'd like to call the annual business meeting to order. I believe we have a quorum. All right. So there'll be a regular business meeting of the church on Tuesday, August 25th at 7 p.m. to act on the following articles. Article 1, to receive the annual reports of the church and pastors board, financial secretary, treasurer, Elizabeth Falls Christian Academy, auditor, all committees and teams, and any other activities approved by the church. So as the first article before the church, do I have a motion? Pastor Ganong, do I have a second? Lloyd Irons. Is there any discussion regarding these articles? And to say Article 1 includes pages 1 through 9 of your booklets. And then in addition to that, we got the church clerk report and the treasurer's reports that are loose leaf, trustees report, sorry, loose leaf in addition. So if you guys don't have copies of those, they are in the back. And if anybody doesn't have a copy, just raise your hand and Pastor John we'll give them to you. They're all out. Does anybody want a copy? Because I have some up here. All right, while those are being handed out, is there any questions? Does anybody want to speak on behalf of these reports? Speak now or forever hold your peace. And actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to institute something now. If you do have a question or want to speak, come up here and use these microphones. So that way, not only do we get the benefit of the audio, but everybody can see you and you can project your voice to the audience. Pastor, get on.
On the clerk's report, I'd like to propose a amendment. We had Gene Chetley and Luella Merriman graduate, leave us, go to glory. So the total membership should be 231.
All right. Watch those benches. I'm not sure we need to make that one necessarily an amendment. I think it just needs to be a correction. So just everybody mark on your things that the total membership is 231, not 233. All right. Any questions, any discussions on these reports? Don't be shy. Don't let anybody intimidate you. I know it can be scary getting up in front of people, but this is a time to ask questions if you have any. Marty.
On this church clerk report, we're going with the new one, the loose one?
Yep. Yes. This. All right. I want to make sure I give everybody the chance to review these. Seeing no further discussion, and if anybody wants time to read, just kind of wave me down and I'll give them a chance, but seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of receiving the reports as written, is that like you're just ready to go, Mr. Fritz? Okay. All those in favor of receiving the reports as written, please raise your hand. Any opposed? And the article is carried. Okay, Article 2. To vote on a budget for the Lisbon Falls Christian Academy. And that budget is, I believe, starts on page 24 of your blue book. Do I have a motion to bring this before the church? Pastor John, do I have a second? Pastor Ganon? Mr. Ancona, is there anything you want to say in regards to this, or is it pretty self-explanatory? All right. Does anybody have any questions?
What's the enrollment at this point?
All right. 48. Actually, Mr. Ancona, do you want to just come up here? If nobody has any further questions, you can sit back down, but at least that way you can.
Even if they don't, I can stand the exercise. I'll walk down and walk down. Can I take this off?
You may.
Oh, good. I figured I could.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Very carefully. The overview I would say is we are basing the COVID situation on the church. The two models we use is what the church is using and recommendations from the CDC and the Department of Education. That's what we're basing it on. And then from there I could kind of digress into it, but there's a lot to it. I'll happy to answer specific questions, but we're basing it on the Department of Education. We are not going by everything that's in the Department of Education, but we are basing it on it. No masks, except for staff. Staff has to wear face shields or masks. The kids are being asked to bring masks with them, but we're choosing to spread them out. We've got, for those of you familiar with Academy, we're going every other desk, which head-to-head measures 6 feet. And then from there, we've purchased some HEPA air filters. You'll see 2 downstairs. This is 1 in kindergarten. That is on the CDC. Department of Education doesn't mention it, but if you go to CDC, they do. That's just an added benefit. Department of Education says fans. We talked about that. Obviously, fans are cheaper, but I think there's multiple benefits to the HEPA air filters. So, other than that, kids are, especially for those who know about the academy, kids are going to be eating in their rooms. We're not going to have it in the lunchroom. And we're, pick-up and drop-off is a lot different. They won't be in the foyer. They're going to go right to the classrooms and will be dismissed from the classrooms. So basically, we're trying to avoid any situation when one class is interacting with another within reason and as much as possible.
Are they going to be able to go out for breaks?
Yes. Yeah, we are allowing them to go out for breaks. We're going to send a notice home to the parents, letting them know that if they do not want them on the playground equipment, we'll honor that. So far, I don't think with at least the group we have that's going to be an issue, but they're definitely going to be allowed to go out on breaks. Yeah. Yeah.
Judy?
I was wondering with the limitations on COVID, what's the capacity we could be?
About what we're at as far as student enrollment.
Yeah, as far as space that we have. for
Yep.
enrollment.
Yeah, about what we're at. Kindergarten is maxed out. I've actually turned a student away in kindergarten. Possibly could have turned another one away, I'm not sure. Elementary is pretty much at maximum. That's the downside of this. I mean, obviously, if you're familiar with the church scenario, we can't fit anywhere near as many people as this church has the capacity if you're going to go by the social distancing in the schools in the same boat. So last year we were at 60, give or take, for the year, and this year right now we're at 48. No, well, we got enough staff for the school we've got right now. That's still a big prayer point. The world's changing, and honestly speaking, it's asking a lot for somebody to, I can't commend enough the ladies who work at the church. Rick would know, anybody who's been around the school knows, and it's a challenge. We definitely do need more staff because of the smaller size of the school. I would say our biggest need right now is high school, though those of you who know Katie Dunn Church, she's going to be coming in 2 days a week in high school. If I can be selfish, I'm praying that God will move her to go 4 days a week. But to be fair, she's got a lot going on. But that's probably our biggest need, kindergarten. If you talk to any of the 3 senior supervisors, they all are looking to retire for grandkids. So my wife being one, Mrs. Bruin, and Mrs. Reynolds. Mrs. Reynolds, this is her last year. And I do not have a replacement yet. So staffing is definitely a prayer point.
So are you using 6 feet spacing or 1.5?
6. Well, 6 feet head to head. Yeah. CDC or the Department of Education allows for 3 feet. Yeah. But honestly, where we're going no mask, we're pushing them as far as we can push them. If you really read the whole document, they've got an abbreviated version online. If you go in and read the whole document, which is like 16 pages, they make it really clear that 3 feet with masks, and that's literally how it's phrased. If you go 6 feet, technically they would like you to still have masks, but if you talk to them or if you read it, when they're eating, they're putting them 6 feet so that they don't have to wear masks. And they also have statements about health. You don't have to wear a mask. A shield can be substituted for health reasons. We do have at least two teachers, possibly a third, that I don't think they would be able to handle a mask all day because for asthma reasons. So yeah, we're going 6 feet. If you go into classrooms, we'll see we have shields, plexiglass shields like all the restaurants are using and that kind of a thing. So again, if you're familiar with the classroom, we do a lot of tutoring, one-on-one. So a kid will come sit at a table, they'll be definitely, they'll probably be within 3 feet or around 3 feet. It's a 2-foot table, and there'll be a shield between them, and then the teacher will have a face shield or a mask. It's their option.
Any other questions?
Troy, you're offering, on your budget, your offering line, does that include subsidies from the
That does include subsidies. Yeah, so if you want a breakdown on that, 16,000 for offering. I'm putting 4,000 from the church, which is usually what we average, and 12,000 for the subsidy. Yeah.
Right now, no sports.
I'm in the same boat that the public schools are. The public schools keep putting it off, and we've got 2 leagues we participate in, soccer and volleyball and basketball. Soccer has put off a couple times. They're going again this Friday, right? So soccer, they're going to have to make a decision here pretty quick. Soccer should be started by now. Volleyball and basketball, their league meeting doesn't take place until like the second week of September. I do not know what they're going to do. I am doubtful on sports. We'll just put it that way. But I'm not sure yet what the league's going to say. We do have kind of a plan B, which I'm not really ready to get in on, but Pastor John and I have been talking about it, and if we don't have a league sports, we're going to try to do something just so the kids can have, maybe it's an open gym night, or they can come on a Friday night and scrimmage together or something like that. We'll see how it works out. But my main concern on sports, honestly speaking, is cross-contamination. In particular, last year, I guess the example I've been using everybody is, if you remember last year, two school districts were closed down because of colds, and it was really bad. They literally were shut down for like a week. And one of the areas was one of the schools we play. And then the next week they had a game with us, and I called up and asked them, okay, you guys really healthy enough to come up here? Because the flu hadn't got into our school yet. And they said their players were healthy. Well, they got up here, they definitely weren't healthy. They were sneezing and coughing and hacking. And, that's last year. But the last thing I want to do is run into a situation where we've got, we're going down south or we're going to another school and we run into a problem. That's kind of why I'm doubtful about sports, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm definitely not saying no yet. So if you talk to somebody, we have not announced that there's no sports yet, because we just want to see how it's going to work.
Anybody else? Seeing no further discussion. Mr. Ancona, thank you. All right, we have Article 2, page 24 of your blue book, before the church. All those in favor of approving Article 2 and the LFCA budget, please raise your hand. Any opposed? And the article is carried. Article 3, to act on a request for membership to and from our fellowship. And Pastor John, I believe you have the floor for this one.
Good evening, everybody. How we doing? Wow, it's just like Sunday morning. Good evening. There you go. Good. All right. So I believe, unless something changes, our number is going to stay at 231. We've got 2 members, assumedly tonight, coming in. We'll talk about that in a second, and 2 going out. So we'll deal with the 2 going out first. Doug and Wendy Marjoram. And I forgot, it's in my office, but they're transferring to a church in Florida. I've already sent a letter. What is it? Trinity. Yes, thank you. Trinity Baptist. I forget the name of the town. But anyway, most of you are friends with them on Facebook, you can write them. So we're sad to see them go, but they're already living there, and they asked. I think their church is actually waiting on us to vote them out. So we'll vote them out tonight, Doug and Wendy. And then Lillian Burnell, Fred Burnell's mom. Most of you, she was here Sunday. Lil sent us her testimony a while ago. A few of us have heard it over the last couple of years. And so on behalf of the deacons and pastors, we recommend Lil. We have this new caroling ministry we've been doing, and we were there 3 weeks ago. As we were leaving, she, beckoned me over and said, "Can I please become a member finally?" So she's been after this for a while, so we're real thrilled to have Lillian coming on. And then the other one, there may be some discussion, so if there is, I'll stay up here, is Dan Chase. If you remember a couple years ago, we sent Dan on some discipline away for an issue, and we've talked to the person the issue was with, and they've made up. We had Dan go through some counseling with Pastor Alden and a variety of other things. And so he's been asking for probably well over a year now. Same thing, we were out caroling with him, and he just broke down and cried and wants to come back and be a member and stuff like that. And so I said, well, bring it before the church. So on behalf of the pastors, he's satisfied us. We think there's repentance and change there, that God did a work. And honestly, as somebody who didn't grow up in a Baptist church, that's how discipline's supposed to work, right? I have kids, we discipline our children in the fear and admonition of the Lord. None of us likes it, but that's the reality. And so we have to do it as adults sometime too. So those are the 2 people that that we recommend, unless there's somebody else knows. If you have any questions, I'll take it. But that's Lillian Burnell and Dan coming back into membership. And then Doug and Wendy going out, sorry. So it's 4 people, but a total of 2. So if my math is right, we should still be at 231 if everything passes. So.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, since this is technically 3 transactions,
Right.
is Doug and Wendy Marjoram leaving our membership. We will vote, and we will vote on each of these transactions individually.
Okay.
So I will first, can I have a motion to bring this before the church? Article 3. Joanne, thank you. And do I have a second? Steve.
I got your back.
Okay. So, first off, is there any questions, discussion on any of these individuals at this point in time? Okay, seeing none. We will start with Doug and Wendy Marjoram transferring from our membership to, what was it, Trinity? Trinity Church?
Trinity Baptist. Yes.
Trinity Baptist down in Florida.
Yep.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? And that is carried. Adding to our membership, Lillian Burnell. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? And that is carried. And then the last one, Dan Chase. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? And it is carried. All right. Article 4, to transact any other business as may properly come before the church. And I have on here notes, amend budgets, pages 19 through 21. Have we already done that? Is that our? You want to,
Back in June,
Pastor Gadong, you want to come up here and?
So those that were with us back in June, we basically voted in a temporary budget. So now we're going to present an amended budget, which is pages 19, 20, and 21 in the report. So I'll make a motion that we approve the amended budget on pages 19, 20, and 21.
Okay. Do I have, so we have a motion, do I have a second to bring this before the church? Mr. Irons. All right, do we have any discussion regarding pages 19, 20, and 21 of this amended budget? And does anybody want to educate the public as to why we are amending the budget?
Okay, so if you take a look down through the budget, a lot of things have gone up. We didn't save as much money as we thought we would over the course of the year. Electricity jumps up in my mind. We figured we would save quite a bit on electricity. We didn't for some reason, only about $500. And that's in there, an increase in electricity. Building repairs, building maintenance and repairs. One thing the trustees are painfully aware of is this is an old building. And we spend lots of time fixing things in this building. And some of them get to be very expensive. So we rolled building maintenance and repairs, I rolled that up to $6,000, but we eliminated the general capital improvement funds. There is actually a little bit of a decrease there, but there's only one line item on that. Then capital reserve funds, we increased that. We'll be talking about sprinkler systems. For a while, our sprinkler system is failing. One of the reasons it's failing is because, unbeknownst to us, it needed to be flushed every now and again. So we're looking at a huge bill to flush it, and then they're recommending that every so often we have to flush it again over the course of time. Sprinkler systems, we didn't know this, but sprinkler systems last 18 to 20 years. Black iron pipe, rust. So every 18 to 20 years, depending on how well we take care of it, we'll be looking at major expenses and sprinklers. So we jacked up that line item. Going down through, next big change, cleaning supplies, custodial supplies. We'll be doing, especially if the school gets back in session, runs 4 days, we will be cleaning a lot more. Cleaning supplies have gone up. In case you haven't noticed, there's a shortage of everything. That's taken a considerable jump. Our computer and internet budget's gone up. We've upgraded our system. We're able to live stream and all that. Got a great new system, but it's going to cost us to maintain it. It's going to cost us to keep it running. And we've upgraded also our phone system and internet. So it's all going to cost us a little bit more to maintain all that good stuff so that we can continue streaming online. The next, moving down to insurance and workman's comp. We're pulling one van off the road. We've already pulled one van off the road. It will not pass inspection without a considerable amount of work. So we pulled one van off. We're only going to pay for insurance for one van, but I will be making an amendment or proposal that we pull both vans off the road and we rent vans going forward. But I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. Everything else, it's not a whole lot of changes until we get down to salaries. So, gave everybody a raise. Minimum wage has gone up. Minimum wage is going up again in January. So the raises for our administrative assistant and treasurer, get them up to over $13 an hour. Even though Valerie is a salary position, Rita is an hourly position, I figured we should pay our people more than minimum wage going forward. So that's why you see quite a substantial jump there. And then gave Mike quite a bit of a raise. Mike puts in a lot of hours, lots of hours, and I don't see his workload decreasing anytime in the near future. So gave him a raise, and then also gave each of the pastors $2,000 raise. So it looks like there's a disparity, but it's because the people on the lower end of the pay scale needed to jack them up higher to get them up above minimum wage and a comparable salary. And I think that's about it. The one item in there, the sprinkler line item, again, I talked about it. We got to flush our sprinkler system. We've got one estimate for not more than $30,000, and another estimate for, well, they said 15, but now they're backing out on that. They don't think they can do that for 15. Two companies out of Lewiston, Auburn area. We know we have leaks in that system already, so after we flush it, there's going to be some money needed to repair that system to get it back operational. We don't think we should use the gym for anything too big without a good working sprinkler system. It would work, but we don't know how long because it was filled, the pipes are filled full of rust, so the nozzles will clog very quickly. So we're looking at a sizable bill to get that sprinkler system back online. So that's going to be, we could vote on that tonight, or we could act on that tonight, or we could come back later. And tied into that, and again, I'll just throw this out, this is what we've been kicking around, is that we pull both vans off the road, cancel the insurance, save the money for budgets for maintenance and repairs, rent vans. There's a line item in there for van rentals. We can rent a van for about $95 a day with 100 miles. After 100 miles, you can, they'll charge you for the mileage. But in the short term, we don't see anyone using a van with the COVID-19 situation. Don't see the school using them very much at all, if at all. And the church, it's been a long time since we've used a van. So we're thinking that we should pull those vans off the road, sell them if we can, and then use the money, the rental money, to rent vans if we need them. At this point, I'll field questions.
What's the access to a rental van? How soon can you get one if you need one?
Same day, probably. We rent right up here at Larry Stewart's.
Oh, wait.
So Word of Life rented them, Rodrigo rented them last year. Really nice vans, really nice vehicles. So It's a real good option.
Mr. Roberts?
If we have to replace the sprinkler system and that's, say it's a $25,000 thing, and we don't have enough in the budget per se, or we can't raise enough to do a special law, will we use some money in the money market that's not designated to take care of it this year, so we don't have that problem?
One of the thoughts would be we would use the, and this would go to the church, we'd use the van replacement money to, we have about $22,000 in van replacement across 3 funds. So the thought would be if we go that way, we would use that money and hopefully not take out a loan.
Well, that's, yeah, we have money market, so we have to vote to be able to undesignate it from one.
Right.
We can't wait on the sprinkler system that again needs to be used. We need more than
Don?
Did you say what the cost would be replacing the system versus
$121,000 was the total replacement for the system. So that's a lot of money. Now, there's no guarantee, right, that when we flush that system, how much, how many repairs we're going to have to make. We know we got some because when we lose power, our air pressure drops off, and the fire department we get all kinds of activity around here when that happens. So, but we got to put a plan now that we got to figure it out so that we can call them up and we know how to shut it down gracefully so that we don't get all kinds of fire trucks showing up. Bill? I didn't hear you, Bill.
What is Easton's recommendations about the system? They figure that when we haven't been keeping it up the way it's supposed to be, this system will work for us.
I'll turn that question over to Marty, because Marty's been the one that's been dealing, that's called passing the buck, Marty.
Marty, why don't you come up and use the microphone?
Yeah, we've been hashing this around for a while, trying to figure out what the best way, the most efficient way to do it. At one of the meetings, we thought, well, if this system's only good for 18 years and we're going to keep having problems, well, why not, like somebody just said, why not change the whole system, put all new piping in? I got a quote from Easton Fire, and as Brian said, $121,000. I talked to another company, and they said, most people don't change the whole system. It just, flush it out, fix the leaks you have. Down the road, if you have a leak, you fix it. We can fix a lot of leaks for the $121,000, even if we spend $30,000. We got this other company in Lewiston. They gave me a quote of $15,000, but now they're kind of, they're not sure if they want to do it for that. They want to come down, charge us $450 to inspect the system, and then they'll give us a more definite price. But nobody is going to give us a definite price because they don't know what they're going to get into. They're opening up a can of worms. Once they get in and start flushing, they might find a lot of problems. Talked to Easton Fire the other day, and I told him we get another quote for $15,000. He says, we can't do it for that price. And I said, we've been with you for a long time. We'd like to stay with you. You give us good service. But he said, he looked it up, and he says, we're putting $6,000 worth of parts out here. That's the new sprinkler heads and the stuff that they have to do to hook it up. He says, that's just in parts. So, and he says, we don't know what we're going to get into. Easton says they'll flush up until December, and then they won't flush anymore. This other company says they can't flush until next year, but Tony's got a picture of the pipe. And I know it's a lot more money with Easton, but I think we've got to get on it as soon as we can, because the pipe is like, I don't know, 5 or 6 inch pipe, and in the picture that Tony had, it's about half full of rust. It's just, you know, if we did have a fire, I don't know what our insurance is going to say if our sprinkler system don't work. You know, I want to save the church money. I don't like spending money more than anybody else here. I try to get the best bang for our buck, and that's why I made another call for a quote. So, but I think we've got to move forward. I don't know if we need to take out a loan. We've got the money here at the church to do this, but we'd have to juggle some money around, and we'd have to get, you know, a vote from the church to do this. So that's about all I can tell you right now on that situation. Nothing's definite. We've got some prices, and that's the best I can tell you. And is there any other questions? I'll see what I can answer. Yes, Rick.
Since it's not going to be tonight, so we don't have to come back, if we're going to need the funds and we have the funds in for vehicle replacement, can we bring up that vote tonight, that if the trustees get to the point that feel we need to do that, that we go tonight to allow them to transfer those funds to the sprinkler, so we don't have to come back?
Yeah, Brian was going
I'll
to.
make that motion open whenever it's ready.
Yeah, Brian was going to bring that up to transfer funds, if it was all right with the church, from vehicle replacement fund. And then I asked about, because we haven't got enough if we went with Easton Fire. So do we take out a loan, or do we transfer some more money from another account? But a lot of our money is designated. So, there's Brian.
Any other questions?
Sometimes the business, self-employed, you have to ask a vendor you work with, wait 30, 60, 90 days. Has that question been asked recently? And let us make payments over the next 3 months?
I haven't. I talked to Easton Fire, I believe it was yesterday, and told them about the quote, and they're supposed to get back to me and see if they can do a little bit better. But I haven't asked them about how long we'd have to pay, if we could come up with some kind of, like you say, 60, 90 days to do that. Yeah, you know, it is a question I can bring before them.
Well, I found experience when you do business with a company, if you're a good customer, don't limit your bills on time, if you ask in advance, you can ask some extra time to pay a big bill. They'll usually want their head yes, so they will work with you.
Yeah,
So it's worth asking the question.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have,
It ends up a little higher than what they usually thought.
yeah. We have spent some money with them here in the last couple of weeks here. The insurance covered most of our alarm system, but they did profit from it.
Anybody else? All right, so just to be clear, the article or the motion that's before the church is the amended budget, pages 19 through 21. Right now, that is the only thing before the church at the moment. So,
I'm going to make an amendment.
all right, so Pastor Ganong would like to make an amendment.
So based on the discussions and I think our desire to get the sprinkler system fixed as soon as possible, I'd like to make the recommendation that we pull both vans. So that would change some line items. Page 2, or the auto, business auto, line item 5556 would go to 0. Under vehicles, fuel, 5940 would go to 0. Maintenance and repairs, 5930 would go to 0. Registration is at 0. Replacement or rental funds, that would go to $1,400. I believe that's it.
All right, what page was that on again?
I don't know.
Page 20. And could you read off the accounts again?
Mine's formatted different. So under insurance, business auto, line item 5556 would go to 0. Under vehicles, fuel, 5940, maintenance and repairs, 5930, registration, 5920, all go to 0. And then replacement rental fund, 5950, goes to $1,400. These ones, all those three go to 0. Right, the first one is under insurance. Auto business, 5556.
Okay. Show insurance on page 19, 56 goes to from 800 to 0. And then you go on page 20, the vehicles, basically all those lines go to 0.
Except for the last one,
Except for the last one, the replacement rental fund.
goes to 1,400.
So 5940 goes to 0, 5930 goes to 0, 5920 goes to 0, and then 5950 goes to 1,400.
Right, so total operating expenses would be 272,510.
272.
272,510. Total operating expenses. So the total church budget becomes 334,930. 334,930.
Okay. Is that the only amendment you're making to this?
Right at the moment.
All right, so first we have to vote on the amendment before we can then vote on the original amendment of the budget, of the amended budget. Do I have any further discussion or any questions? Everybody clear on what we're doing for this one? Okay, we are voting on the amendment for the changes that Pastor Ganong just laid out. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? One opposed. All right. And the amendment is carried. Now we are voting on the amended pages 19 through 21 of the budget. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? And one opposed. All right. The amendment and the article is carried. Is there any other business that would like to come before the church at this time?
Yeah, this is the time that I'd like to make a motion, we allow the trustees, if needed, to take funds that are designated for vehicle replacement, whatever councils are, if you use them as needed for this purpose.
Okay. Before the church, Mr. Roberts has made a motion that we empower the trustees to use the funds currently designated for vehicle replacement to, if necessary, replace or repair the sprinkler system. Do I have a second? Tony, thank you. All right. I have a motion, I have a second. Any questions or comments regarding this particular motion? Marty, just for clarification, how much funds do we have currently designated for vehicle replacement at this time?
Just over $22,000.
Just over $22,000. Okay. So we're essentially authorizing the trustees to take that just over $22,000 to use for a potential sprinkler repair if needed. All right, seeing no questions or discussions, all those in favor of the motion to transfer or to authorize the trustees to use $22,000 currently designated for vehicle replacement for any potential repairs for the sprinkler system, please raise your hand. Any opposed? One opposed. All right, and the motion is passed. Did you get all that, Sean? Okay. Any other business that members would like to bring before the church at this time? Marty?
I'm always the bearer of bad news.
What?
Okay. Our last, let's see now, I think it was our Thanksgiving offering, no, our Easter offering. We wanted to use the money for the stairway on the outside of the building because it's deteriorating. We only received, I think, around $1,200 to do that. Scott tells us it's going to take about $8,000. That's just kind of a estimate. Around 8,000, Scott? Just kind of a guesstimate, yeah, a number he threw out there. But we've got to fix it eventually. Right now, we're just going to try to patch it up, try to hold off, but we want to patch it up a little bit so we don't get water into the lower level like we did. So we've got a couple plans on doing that, but eventually we do want to fix that and fix it right. The stairway out back works real good. Scott fixed that up, and we'd like to get that one on the side fixed up. But we just, always need more funds. And we're just trying to work with what we got. We're going to patch that up for this year. Maybe next year we'll be able to get that fixed. And we've got some other things. We got some gym roof repairs. The roof's leaking out there. But I've got a fella coming in, and he said he would volunteer his time. He was supposed to be here last week, but he hasn't. He said he'd volunteer his time on working on fixing the gym roof. So we're waiting on him. I used to go to school here. I think he went to school, or his brother. His name is DeWinel, Dustin DeWinel. He builds steel buildings, him and his father. So he said he would volunteer his time. We did have a little flood the other day. I don't know how many people know about it here, down in the lower level. We had a leak coming in, up through one of the drains. The septic system was backing into the kitchen down there. Mike and Fred kind of took care of that, and they kept it vacuumed out with the shop vac, kept it under control. We had to have a company come in and put some new floats in our septic. The pumps were all right, but we got that all taken care of. There's been some people that said we ought to probably rip the floor up and try to dry it out. We had a trustees meeting, and nobody really recommended ripping the floor back up. I can't see taking the floor up, just because you take that floor up, it will never go back down and look the same. So we're hoping we don't get mold. We run the dehumidifiers, the fans, and so far everything looks good. There's nothing bubbling up or anything. So I think we're all set, but I just want to make you aware of a couple things, so you know what's going on around the facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Anybody else? All right. Seeing no further questions or comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Scott, I'll have a second. Tim? All right, Pastor John, do you want to close us in a word of prayer after we have the vote? And I will just say, good job tonight, guys. This was a tough one. You guys made it through. All those in favor of adjournment, and then Pastor John, take us out with the word of prayer. All those in favor, please raise your hand. And we are adjourned. Pastor John.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you again for this here tonight. Thank you for this church pushing 170 years. You provided grace and allowed us to be here in this calls and preach the gospel. We pray that we're going to continue through our worship services, our school, our missionaries, for all of our ministries. We just thank you for each one here tonight. Lord, it's a little different year. So for those that join us online, we pray you bless them too. And Father, we just look forward to being making disciples. Lord, these are just numbers. The numbers represent real people. So we just thank you for the ministry this church has. We give you all the praise and all God's people say.
Amen. Drive safe, everyone.